Welcome to Wallace on Wire. Today we're talking about Anthony Loke's strong declaration regarding seat allocation within the unity government. And this isn't just some minor procedural thing, is it? This feels like a pretty dramatic assertion of power happening right inside the ruling coalition.
Oh, absolutely. It's a major statement. It kind of resets the whole dynamic. Anthony Loke, as the Democratic Action Party's Secretary General, he's drawn this absolute line. And he's clearly aiming it at certain coalition partners, the ones he sees as, well, deliberately causing trouble, or as he put it, manufacturing noise before future elections.
Yeah, and the language, wow, it wasn't exactly subtle, was it? He basically threw down a gauntlet. He said, if you want genuine cooperation, let's negotiate honestly. If you want confrontation, and he was crystal clear, we are ready to take you on.
Exactly. That signals a real shift. The Democratic Action Party isn't acting like just another partner anymore. They're positioning themselves as, well, a dominant force ready to defend what they see as theirs.
It's a very hard stance against internal bickering, basically. It tells everyone they're not going to sacrifice actual political wins just for show, for some kind of superficial unity.
Precisely. No more papering over the cracks if it means giving up seats they fought hard for.
Okay, so let's break that down. What exactly is he defending so fiercely? He got very specific about Nigeria Sembilan. What was the commitment there?
Right. Nigeria Sembilan, it's symbolic, sure, because it's his home state, but it's also deeply strategic. He stated very plainly that the Democratic Action Party will not give up any of the seats they currently hold there. That's 2 parliamentary seats and 11 state seats. He put numbers on it.
Specific numbers, yeah. A tangible measure of their political strength in that state. And he wasn't shy about why they feel they own those seats, was he?
Not at all. He really stressed that these seats weren't, handed to them on a plate. Not charity. He framed it as a result of decades of struggle, grassroots work, tough campaigns. The message is clear. The history, the effort involved, makes this territory non-negotiable. Sacred ground, almost.
The history gives them the right, in his view, and he summed it up with that phrase. Not one seat can be lost.
Yeah, that specific phrase, that immediately sets a tough precedent. It's not just about Nigeria Sembilan. It puts the whole coalition on notice. That's the benchmark the Democratic Action Party will use for all future seat talks across the entire unity government. If they hold it now, they expect to keep it.
Okay, so he's drawn his battle lines to defend his territory. But this kind of internal fighting, it's politically costly, right? If he's directing this energy inwards, not at the opposition like Perikatan Nasional, who's he actually targeting? Who are these partners making all the noise?
Well, the signs point pretty clearly towards, let's say, legacy partners within the broader coalition structure. You've got the Malaysian Chinese Association, MCA, who've been quite vocal about wanting to contest more seats next time, trying to regain some ground. And then there's the Malaysian Indian Congress, MIC. They've definitely expressed serious unhappiness about what they see as broken promises, especially regarding cabinet spots after the 2022 election.
Right. The MIC frustration seemed really high. I remember those rumors swirling around, that they might even consider jumping ship to Perikatan Nasional.
Exactly. Those rumors really showed the kind of pressure cooker the unity government is dealing with internally. And Loke tackled this directly. He essentially told these parties, look, don't blame the Democratic Action Party for your own problems. He called their issues their own domestic or internal affairs.
So basically, clean up your own house before pointing fingers.
Precisely. His take is, if parties like MCA or MIC are struggling with support or internal issues, they need to look inwards first. Don't look for a scapegoat in the Democratic Action Party. He kind of framed that external blaming as a sign of their own weakness, actually, not a failure of the coalition itself.
That's a really blunt way to handle dissent, isn't it? It forces those parties into a tough spot. Are you really committed to making this government work, or are you just using your position to cause trouble and maybe grab some concessions? Pick a side.
And that's where you see the strategy behind the aggression. While he's pushing back against the noise, he also made sure to reaffirm DAP's complete commitment to the unity government and Pakatan Harapan. He emphasized that their cooperation, especially with Barisan Nasional, is built on pragmatism, was the word he used, and political maturity.
Okay, so it's not just threats. He laid out a rule, a principle for how things should work moving forward to manage this exact problem. What was that mechanism?
Yes, the governing principle, he called it incumbent priority. And this is really the key mechanism he's proposing to stop internal fights over seats, to bring some stability.
Incumbent priority. Okay. I mean, it sounds pragmatic, but couldn't you argue that Loke is using this rule to essentially sideline smaller partners like MCA and MIC who didn't do so well last time? Doesn't that just build up resentment that could break things later anyway?
Well, that's the inherent risk. Absolutely. But from a strategic viewpoint, especially for the Democratic Action Party, incumbent priority is very advantageous. Let's define it simply. The party that actually won the seat in the last election gets to defend it next time. So if Barrison National won it, DAP stays out. But crucially, if DAP won it, other partners shouldn't challenge them for it.
Right. So it basically locks in the results of the last election. And DAP did very well then, while MCA and MIC, well, they struggled.
Exactly. That's the strategic genius, if you want to call it that. Older systems might have favored, historical claims or party size, which often helped Barrison national components like MCA and MIC, even if they weren't winning. Incumbent priority just ignores all that history. It cements DAP's current strength and tells parties like MCA, with maybe just a few seats, that they have to accept their current standing within the government structure. It fundamentally shifts the internal power balance.
That makes sense. It lets the big players like DAP and the main Barisan National Party, UMNO, the United Malays National Organization, focus on governing without constantly looking over their shoulders at internal rivals trying to snatch their seats.
And Loke actually used Negeri Sembilan as his proof of concept. He specifically pointed to the good working relationship DAP has with UMNO there at the state administration and local levels. He presented that collaboration as evidence that this pragmatic model can work effectively for the long haul.
Okay, you mentioned the relationship with UMNO. How much of this whole declaration do you think is really aimed at solidifying that specific crucial partnership with UMNO? Since they're the biggest BN partner, maybe it's less about silencing MCA and MIC and more about reassuring UMNO.
I think that's a huge part of it, yes. While the rhetoric might sound harsh towards MCA and MIC, the real intended audience might well be UMNO and also the Pukatan Harapan base. He's signaling reliability to UMNO. Look, we respect incumbency. We won't poach your seats if you won them. That makes DAP look like a stable, trustworthy governing partner long-term, perhaps more so than some of the smaller, potentially disgruntled parties. It's about shoring up the most critical relationship in the whole coalition.
Interesting take. But this message wasn't just for outsiders, was it? Loke also had some pretty direct words for his own Democratic Action Party members. He demanded a big change in how they think and act.
Oh yes, a very significant internal directive. He essentially told them, stop acting like you're still the opposition.
That must be incredibly difficult for members who've spent years, maybe decades, primarily protesting and criticizing the government. Finding fault was their main role.
It's a huge shift, definitely. A necessary one for a governing party, perhaps. Loke was very clear. Party members should stop creating issues or hyping up conflict. If there are internal disagreements or problems, solve them quietly, behind closed doors. Avoid public spats. Governing, he stressed, requires pragmatism and responsibility.
That might be the most strategically important instruction of all. He's telling his own party, ignore the political noise, focus on the job, focus on delivering results for the people, consolidate your position through good work. It's a call to shift from being political agitators to being, well, responsible administrators.
And think about the internal political costs for Loke himself. He's asking his own party members to give up something they're good at criticizing, scoring political points against partners sometimes. He's demanding they sacrifice that freedom for the sake of projecting stability and competence for the coalition as a whole. It's a gamble on maturity, really.
So, looking at the bigger picture then, what does this very firm but also strategically calculated stance from Anthony Loke mean for the unity government's stability down the road? It definitely signals that the Democratic Action Party feels strong, and they're not going to be easily pushed around or intimidated into giving up seats just to keep everyone happy on the surface.
Yeah, the key question now is whether this incumbent priority principle, even if it creates a kind of structural stability, is actually enough to manage the deep frustration felt by parties like MCA and MIC, parties that feel marginalized and are desperate for relevance. The risk is, while Loke enforces discipline internally and strengthens his ties with UMNO, the whole coalition could still face stress. Stress from those smaller partners who might feel they have absolutely nothing left to lose by, well, rocking the boat.
It's that classic political choice, isn't it? Stability through strength versus trying to maintain unity through constant compromise, even if it feels superficial. So what do you think about Anthony Loke's firm stand here? Is incumbent priority really the best way to manage these complex coalition dynamics in Malaysia today? Let us know your thoughts. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.